I'm Jeff. This is Retire with Zero, where I want to show you guys how to retire with zero fear, zero stress, and zero regrets. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to do it with zero debt because it makes all those things much easier. So I'm going to tell you guys how my house in Florida, my forever house, my dream house, I sold it and I paid off that mortgage and I paid cash for this house here in Spain. I always get people in the comments that say that they can't relate to me because I'm some rich a-hole who has a house in Spain and has rental properties in Florida. But the truth is a lot of work and sacrifice went into this plan. I'm going to tell you guys how I did it. My mortgage on my house in Florida was $25,000 a year. $1,000 a month, $12,000 of that was just my taxes and my insurance. After I sold that house and paid off the mortgage and I paid cash for this house cost me $1,000 a year. That's my taxes and insurance combined on this house. I had money left over, about $250,000. I put that into a Vanguard account. And now let's say that earned me 10% per year. That means that the leftover money after I paid cash for this house is paying me $25,000. And I lost a $25,000 mortgage payment on my house in Florida. That's a $50,000 swing. And that, my friends, makes retirement a lot easier. So let's talk about how I did it all and how you can retire with zero debt in this video. There's a lot of things that keep people working too long and keep them from retiring early or retiring on time or retiring at all. And one of the biggest ones is debt. People are strapped with so much debt. The consumerism in America, the credit card payments, the car payments, the house payments, those things push off retirement because A, you can't save and invest early enough because you're paying off all the new cars and the new clothes and all the stuff you've got to have to live a beautiful American lifestyle. When you could get rid of those things and retire way earlier, way faster, and enjoy way more of your life, especially when you're younger. So let me paint the picture for you a little bit. I told you how much my house in Florida cost me, but let me make the numbers make a little bit more sense to you. I bought my house in Florida probably 8 years ago. I paid $230,000 for it. And after a flooding incident, I had to remodel the house. I put about a little over $100,000 into it. So let's say I was into that house for $350,000. My mortgage on the house when I bought it was $180,000. I'd paid that down to about maybe $150,000 by the time we sold the house. And because prices exploded, and especially in Florida, I sold that house for $750,000. So after I paid my $180,000 mortgage off, I had about $500,000, a little bit more, maybe $550,000. I paid cash for this house here in Spain. I paid $350,000 for this house, and I had a little over $200,000 left over. So my mortgage payment on that house was about $2,300 a month, which is roughly $25,000 per year. And half of that was my taxes and my insurance. My taxes were about over $6,000 a year, and my insurance was a little over $4,000 a year. So almost $1,000 a month just on taxes and insurance. And on this house, as I said in the intro, my property taxes are $500 a year, and my property insurance is $500 a year. So I took $25,000 just from my mortgage payment, and now it's $1,000 a year. And then that other $200,000 I had left over, put it into a Vanguard account. Let's say it gets 10% just to make the numbers easy. That pays me, that's how I get that extra $25,000 coming in. You could also take that $25,000 and pay off cars or pay off consumer debt and zero out any of your other debt. Here's the problem with the American dream of home ownership in America. See, I owned a mortgage company for 10 years out in Montana, and I had my real estate license for 10 years while I lived in Florida. And when your mortgage broker tells you you can afford $680,000 of mortgage or a $680,000 house, and you can afford a $3,500 a month payment, people automatically go and they max that budget out because that's the maximum they can afford, and they want the biggest, best house they can get. Your mortgage broker or your banker isn't telling you that's how much house you should buy. They're saying that's the maximum you can afford. You can't afford one penny over this, and everybody goes straight to the maximum. I've never seen anybody not do that, to be honest with you. When I first moved to Florida, my wife and I was coming off of 3 foreclosures in 2008. I went totally broke. The bank took all of my houses from me. I had zero money. I was totally freaking broke. And my wife was not a US citizen. She had zero credit. I had a minus 5,000 credit score. She had 30 grand saved up from living in Africa and having all of her expenses paid for her, where she was a teacher there. And so when we bought our first house together in Florida, we bought the smallest, cutest little house we could afford for $100,000. That was 2 blocks off of the beach, and it kept our payments very small, and it gave us breathing room to save up to buy another house. That's how this whole thing got started for me. So the point I want to make here is that if you can, rather than getting the maximum you can afford, whatever your mortgage person says you can afford, look at what your needs are and maybe find the smallest house you can fit into to keep your bills low. Especially the younger you are starting off, the more runway that's going to give you to invest into your future. Look at the houses that our parents had. They were small little 3-bedroom, 2 baths on a little lot in the suburbs, and now every young person thinks they need a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square foot McMansion, and they don't understand why they can't afford it. So starting small, you can work your way up there maybe as life progresses, but everybody ends up downsizing in the end anyway. So maybe pick something in the middle or on the smaller side. The dream of home ownership isn't to get the biggest maximum thing you can, it's to get into the game, level out your mortgage payments. Obviously taxes and insurance are going to go up. That was a big problem for us in Florida, but getting into the game and pretty much leveling out your housing expenses is key, but doing it smart is the real trick here. Look, this isn't a video about how to move to Spain and reduce your costs. Obviously, that's one way to do it. It's one way that we're working on doing it, but we're not spending all of our time here yet because income taxes are another beast here. And I have, my parents, we lost my dad a year or so ago, and my mom is alone in Georgia, and we don't want to be too far away from her as she's getting older. So there's lots of different variables in your life that may hold you in one place or prevent you using geo-arbitrage to go to another place. But this is something that we're sort of working towards as a transition because life is a lot cheaper here in Spain. This is beautiful. We did not have to sacrifice a lot. As I said, we paid $350,000 for this house. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, and we have 35 acres of land. We basically own a whole mountain here behind me, and I have land that fronts on a beautiful river down below me. So we didn't downsize into a little apartment in middle America to save money. We went kind of big on this, but we still saved money in the process. I don't want to just dwell on mortgage debt. A lot of people use it incorrectly and they get too big of a house, but consumer debt is a real killer of people working too long, being afraid to retire, and preventing them from putting money into retirement savings. Everybody knows who Dave Ramsey is. I'm not a big fan of him, but if you have a lot of consumer debt, that's where you need to start with the debt snowball or the debt avalanche. I believe if you have consumer debt, credit cards, personal loans, that kind of thing, you pay off the ones with the lowest balances with the biggest payments first. Because if you have something that you only owe $3,000 on, but it's a $350 a month payment, you get that one paid off, you take that $350, you apply it to the next one, and you work your way up knocking those things out. So this isn't a how to pay off consumer debt video either. But there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, and there's a lot of different ways to get your consumer debt paid off. If you are a homeowner, you could refinance your house and pay off all your consumer debt. Maybe if you have $30,000 of consumer debt, that might be a smart thing to do. Then you take all the money that you're paying on those different credit card bills and things and apply it back to your mortgage to get it paid off faster, and your money works better for you quicker in a scenario like that. The key, my friends, is to just not overspend. And if you have credit card debt or consumer debt, you got to learn to start living within your means so you can not rack up more and get those things paid off, because that is the silent killer of an early or a retirement in general. I had one client of mine when I had my mortgage company, and we were trying to get all of her debt paid off, and she literally took her credit cards. Like, you talk about freezing your credit. She literally took her credit cards, put them in a Ziploc bag, filled them up with water, and put them in her freezer. And she deleted all of her credit card numbers off of her Amazon accounts and off all of her online things, so that if she wanted to buy something and she wanted to go to the store and buy a new pair of shoes and she couldn't pay cash for them, if she needed a credit card, she literally had to go into her freezer, pull the bag out, defrost it, get the credit card out, and go back to the store and buy whatever she wanted. And that gives you a lot of time to think about whether you really need that item. Moving here from Florida to Spain, moving everything in suitcases on an airplane, makes you see how much crap you really have and see how much stuff you really don't need. The amount of clothes, me even more so than my wife, I'm a stuff person. I have a pack rat gene I inherited from my mother that she inherited from her mother. We come from a long line of pack rats, and trying to whittle things down to what you need. And when you move on the plane and you got to put everything into a suitcase, you really realize all the stuff that you don't really need. You know, I moved half of my clothes here, and then I was 6 months back in Florida, and I had everything I ever could need, and I had everything ever I could need here, but I still had extra clothes left over that I got rid of. So I had more than 2 times what I needed. That was made very clear to me as I moved things I own to different places. So maybe go through your closet and look at all the things you haven't worn or you don't need or you haven't worn in 3 years or more, and just look at how many clothes those are, and just think all that money represents time you worked and you paid for those things that you didn't need to, that you could have retired 1 month earlier even, or 1 year earlier. Just add that up over 10 years of accumulating crap. Look in your garage. Maybe you got so much stuff in your garage you can't even park a car in there because you got too much stuff. Okay, let's move on to the next big killer. This is your car payment. We moved down to the Virgin Islands for a couple of years, and we took our cars with us down there, but then we sold our cars there, and when we came back to America, well, the mainland America, we had to buy a new car. This was right at the end of COVID, and car prices were ridiculous. So anyway, we were shopping for a car, and I remember being in one dealership, and the guy was like, well, tell me what your budget is and your wish list. And I told him my budget was $15,000. And the dude, he was probably 25 years old. He literally laughed at me in my face, and he was like, oh my God, you're not gonna find anything on our lot for $15,000. And he bragged, he's like, my car payment is $1,500 a month. As if that was something to be proud of. His car was so expensive, he was paying $1,500 a month. My mortgage on my first house my wife and I bought in Florida was $800 a month. This dude's car payment was twice what my mortgage was in Florida. So sorry for the rant, but for some reason people think having a car payment is some sort of badge of honor. I can tell you, I personally have never had a car payment in my life. I've always paid cash for every car that I have. And if you're paying, the average car payment in America, I think is around $800 a month right now, which is just insane to me that people pay that much to drive a car. So my advice here is to get rid of the car payment. You can pay $15,000 cash for a car that will last you years and years and years. My car in Florida is a 2016 Subaru Outback that we paid 20 grand for it. My $15,000 budget during COVID car crisis turned out not to be realistic. We paid 20 grand for that car, which I think was probably worth 16 or 17. I digress again. But the point is, having car payments is the second biggest killer of wealth, I think, and the second biggest preventer of retirement, especially early retirement. Go into a retirement calculator and put $600 or $800 a month into there and see what that does over 20 or 30 years with compound interest, instead of just paying for a car so you can impress your friends with the fancy new Ford F-150 or whatever Lexus you think might make your friends be impressed. Let me tell you what, your friends will be way more impressed when you retire at 50 than you rolling up to work at 65 in a brand new Lexus. Trust me. So there's a couple more key pieces to this retire with zero mindset. It's not just retire with zero debt, it's also retire with zero fear, zero stress, and zero regrets. And so after you get that debt all wiped out, the next thing you got to do is come up with at least 3 to 6 months in cash reserves, put it in a high yield savings account. We have more than 12 months for ourselves in a high yield savings account, so that if we had to draw off of that money, we have 1 year before we had to touch any equity in our houses or the little bit of money that we have squirreled away in our Vanguard account. So this is the key to being stress-free, is having 6-12 months of cash set aside for any kind of emergencies or market downturns, or you lose a job or whatever it might be. And after that, you turn your savings into income. My Vanguard account, I have dividend accounts, I'm building equity in there. So that thing is growing and it's paying dividends, and there could be money I could be drawing off of that if I wanted to, but we don't need the money because we live off of our rental income. So that is just sort of our safety, our double extra safety net sitting there, just growing and accumulating. And debt-free doesn't mean deprivation. You can still travel, you can still have fun, you can still do cool stuff, and look, we sold our dream house to buy this house on 35 acres in the Pyrenees Mountains in the north of Spain. We're not deprived of anything. It's just a different way to live a life that costs less money. And these lifestyle choices pay real dividends. You can sleep better, you can travel more, and you have, like I say, zero stress and zero fear about retirement, knowing that you have very little nut to cover without a mortgage, without a car payment, without consumer debt. Our life in Florida, when we had our forever house that we sold, cost us about $80,000 a year. And if we lived here full time in this house in Spain, it would be under half of that. I think it'd probably be about $35,000 a year. I'm not going to get into healthcare costs and all the other things involved, but just figuring out ways to get your expenses down to a minimum. I'm telling you, you could knock 5 or 10 years off of your working career so that you can retire at a younger age and enjoy all the things that life has to offer. So look, you don't have to move to Spain to retire early. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you are struggling with debt, if you need to get out of debt, if any of these things gave you any kind of motivation, if you consider moving to another country like this, or maybe just a cheaper place in the US, maybe closer to grandkids, maybe that's your goal, whatever it might be. Let me know if this helped you at all and what your plan is down there, and do what you're supposed to do. You know, you're supposed to give me the like and ring the bell so you know when my next video comes out, and subscribe to the channel, because only like 40% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So I'd really appreciate that. It helps me, and then I can make more videos for you.